Welcome back to Rush the Field, your stop for the greatest sport on earth. It's college football. And today we have a fun slate of things to talk about. We're going to start off talking about quarterbacks. Starting quarterbacks have just been announced this week. We got week 0 lineup predictions, and then we got much, much more. So stay tuned. But if you haven't already, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, like, share with a friend if you and them will love college football. Okay, so the biggest news has to be coming out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Keelan Russell has been announced as the starting quarterback, and he will be slinging the rock for the Tide. This quarterback, just based on watching his games, spring game that he played, watching his film against ULM last year, watching some tape, he's very reminiscent of a hybrid Milroe Simpson, very good dual threat quarterback with abilities of pocket passing. And with that being said, I think this is just what Ryan Grubb and this offense need to get the Tide rolling in a good direction, knowing that they didn't really have a lot of help in the backfield last year. And with Deere being out for probably the first couple games of the year, they're going to need a quarterback that is going to mobilize and act as a running back, similar to Jalen Milroe, similar to Ty Simpson when he was able to make those kind of scrambles, but together in one, have just a overall solid quarterback. I would kind of argue that Keelan Russell is what people thought DJ Lagway was going to be, and to an extent probably still can be. That's just how it is. Austin Mack, like I projected, will probably hit the portal at some point, but I would not be surprised if you see Austin Mack stick behind Keelan Russell for the majority of the year, hoping to get some snaps or just hoping to develop overall as a player. Aaron Philo is a quarterback selected for the University of Florida over Tramell Jones Jr., true freshman. But I really believe that Aaron Philo, probably not a popular opinion, but he could have had the starting position at Georgia Tech over Haynes King if Haynes was injured for more than one game of the season. I didn't mind watching Philo sling it. I thought that he had great potential, great ability as a quarterback, and what that program was trying to bring. Haynes King obviously is just a phenomenal athlete. I mean, you saw that multiple different cases along the year. And, even watching that 9 overtime game against Georgia, Haynes King was the obvious upper hand starter quarterback. But Aaron Philo, great backup. And I think that University of Florida and their direction, hopefully this new offense led by John Summerall, is going to be exactly what these Florida Gators need to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. And I'm excited to see what they have cooking. I definitely believe that they could be an 8-win team with the right offense, with the right weapons. And going into this kind of new schematic system, I don't see why that's not possible. Want to take a quick break to shout out the new merch that just came in. If you or a friend would rock this on game day, comment down below, and I might be giving some away. I think one quarterback that's not getting enough talk about that definitely should be Michael Van Buren going over to the University of South Florida, led by former defensive coordinator Brian Hartline of Ohio State. I didn't mind watching Van Buren at LSU. I really thought that in the moments that he did step up to the plate, he had some time to develop, and he definitely, under the right systems, can be a really great quarterback. And going into a Power 5 school, a G5 school, if you will, University of South Florida, in that conference, I think that anything's really possible. That team is definitely one that is in contention to be in the AAC championship game, and it is one that is definitely viable for that 12th spot in the college football playoff later down the year. The problem, and this isn't just USF, this is just the G5 and having one spot for a conference championship, highest ranked conference champion, it definitely makes it so every game is a really make or break scenario for your playoff hopes. So if you're a team that has definitely been in contention prior, if you're the Tulanes, if you're the North Texases, the USFs, the UNLVs, it is a make or break season for you. It's 12-0 or bust for the most part. Now, that's not to say that you don't put up a good showing, like let's say Boise State upsets Oregon early on, but loses to a team like UNLV later in the season. They're not going to punish them for the loss of UNLV as much as they are going to reward them for winning against a top 3 program in college football. And that would be one of the very few and rare scenarios that a G5 school with a loss on their resume could be inducted into the 12-team playoff. Again, it could just be a down year for the G5. Who knows? But I like USF chances this year, especially with Michael Van Buren, especially with Brian Hartline. and Brian's defensive schematics over at Ohio State, if that translates any bit, I really think that you're going to see them in a really dangerous spot to be that 12th spot in the playoff. So going back to the topic of true freshmen starting for SEC teams, Faison Brandon starting at Tennessee. I really like this. I don't mind it at all. I mean, watching, Joey Aguilar last year, I really think that the way that their system is built is going to be great for someone like Faison Brandon. I mean, he's got great stature, great athletic ability, and under Josh Heupel's offense, I think you're going to see some really dangerous plays, especially when they go to play these teams that are very aggressive, on the defensive front. I mean, when you play teams like Alabama, when you play teams like Georgia, I think that he is going to be the weapon that Heupel needs to kind of keep Tennessee in the back pocket of contention for one of these at-large spots for the college football playoff. And I'm excited to see what he has. I mean, I watched some of his highlights, fall practice, spring game. I didn't mind it whatsoever. So I'm excited to see Tennessee, new direction hopefully, and maybe Josh Heupel will pull himself back to a playoff spot that he was with Nico Iamaleava a couple years ago. Now that we went over starting quarterbacks, we're going to talk about week 0 spreads and lines that we like, brought to us by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel, one of the best sporting apps that you can bet on your games year-round. I'm not sponsored, but I think when I am sponsored, I'm going to have that line a lot more dialed in. Okay, starting off, we have the famous, I say famous, it's not really famous. We have TCU playing UNC. The line is set at TCU minus 7.5. That line actually dropped from minus 8. I like it. I mean, guys, if this was a reminiscent of anything last year, we saw TCU knock the absolute brakes off of UNC. And again, this is not something that I think is going to change. I really think that in the first half, if you had to bet halves and you're really into, the schematics of each quarter, I would say that take the under on the first half. TCU is going to pull away second half. I like TCU minus 7.5. I'm not going to touch the over-under on this one. I think it's a little too close for my liking. TCU minus 7.5. Now, if you want to take a bet that's going to make the hair on your chest stand up, you're going to have to take this one. USC minus 38.5 against San Jose State. Do I think they'll do it? Yes. I 100% think they'll do it. I mean, obviously 38.5 is not a line that anyone feels comfortable betting, but when it comes to Lincoln Riley and this USC team, I think, again, this is another year. I talked about it in my last video, Lincoln Riley and the way that his team is going to progress and put himself into a playoff contention spot. It comes out with these marquee wins in a week 0. I mean, obviously having a week 0, it's not always a fun spot to be in when you're at a program that is so highly stouted like USC, and especially when you're trying to have a reputation for a team that is vying for a playoff position, vying for a conference championship, vying for a national championship. I like USC. I'm going to take the spread on this one, minus 38.5, if I can talk today. Yeah. Next one, we got Virginia and NC State. Virginia opens as a 5.5-point favorite, and I like it. Okay. Virginia, a team that made it really deep last year. They went all the way to the ACC championship game against Duke and lost. Now with Virginia, you have Bo Pribula, who, if you saw last year, he played at Missouri, had his up and down moments. I think Missouri's run game definitely catered to Bo Pribula's stats and helping that team get to where they were. I mean, they started the year 5-0, then they played Bama at home and then lost in a real nail-biter game. And I think Virginia is just a team that definitely has the capability to beat a team like NC State, but I don't think by 5.5. I'm going to take NC State plus 5.5 on this one, and that is just historically, I think NC State is a great football team, and I'm not a big fan of that line, I'll be honest with you. I like Virginia, but I like NC State to cover. So NC State plus 5.5. This is going to be a really exciting one that not a lot of people are going to pay attention to. North Dakota State and Jacksonville State. This is North Dakota State first game playing in the FBS. I think this is going to be really cool. They're opening as a 7.5-point favorite, and I'm going to take North Dakota State to have a huge debut win, minus 7.5, and I'm going to take the over on this one. I really think that we're going to see more than 46.5 points, so I'm going to take North Dakota State, and I'm going to take the over. Florida State taking on New Mexico State on week 0. 30.5 point favorites. Florida State has had really big marquee wins early in the season. I mean, you saw it last year. I'm trying to remember who they played, but they beat them by like 60. And opening up against New Mexico State, they have something to prove. They have all this negative stigma going against Florida State. I like Florida State to cover 30.5. And if you want to even get spicier, I like the over on this 52.5 as well. UNLV opens up as a 4.5 point favorite against Memphis, and I like it. And UNLV is a team that you're going to see later on in the year as a discussion point for UNLV opens up as a 4.5 point favorite against Memphis, and this is going to be a team that you are going to hear talked about later in the year about vying for that 12th position on the college football playoff for that G5 team. And that's why I'm going to take UNLV to have a nice big win. They're going to be -4.5. I like the over on this one too, 56.5 if you want to tease it, but I think you'd be really safe betting that -4.5. I know you guys are ultra thankful that college football's back, and so am I. I cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, concerns, leave them down below. Drop me a comment. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you want to hear. I'm excited to get this college football season underway with y'all, and I can't wait for more. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.